What's going on, everybody? My name is Zach Hartley and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my entire strategy for how I plan to win a trading competition with over $20,000 in prize money. I'm also going to walk you through the rules of the competition and how you can sign up to compete against me. Here's everything you need to know. Let's go. Okay, so to start us off here, let's just talk about this trading competition. This is hosted and held and run by an ETF provider in Canada called Gloabl X. They're one of the largest ETF providers in Canada, and they do an amazing job at offering a wide variety of ETFs for basically every investing need. Now, this competition in particular has over $20,000 in cash prizes that are going to be available to the winners. The competition itself goes for 6 weeks and it lasts from September 16th to October 25th. This competition in particular, though, will only allow Canadian ETFs. Now, when you sign up for the competition, they're going to give you $100,000 in fantasy funds, and the rewards are going to be given out based on who can generate the best returns over the length of the competition as well as on a weekly basis. And if you want to sign up for it, you can register now. The link is in the description down below. But first, I want to tell you about the rules and my strategy. So the rules of the competition are fairly simple. Again, you can register at any point. So even if you are seeing this video after the competition has started, you can still register and you can win the grand prize or you can win the weekly prizes. So it doesn't really matter when you register, but sooner is obviously better. Like I said, only Canadian ETFs are available. There is no short selling, there's no margin, and you're also not getting charged commissions, which is really, really nice. And then one of the most important rules here is that you can only have a maximum position size of 25% in one ETF. And so what that means is that no matter what, you can't just put all of your money into the Bitcoin ETF and hope that Bitcoin skyrockets and then you win the competition. You need to build a couple of different positions here, which adds some complexity to the strategy. Now, my strategy here, this is super, super important. So it's important to understand that this is a competition and this is not my long-term retirement portfolio. And so I'm going to treat them a little bit differently. I am here to win this competition. There is no doubt about it. I'm coming in to try and win some prize money here. The other thing that we need to consider here is that because this is all fantasy funds and we don't even have to pay to sign up for the competition, there really is no risk other than the time that you put into it, and hopefully that time that you put in, you're going to learn something. And so the way I like to think about this is that it is practice for my real trading. There's no downside here. And so because of that, I'm going for some shorter term trades that are probably going to give me a higher return, or a higher risk to return ratio, I should say. Now, for me, I'm not trying to keep 8 or 10 positions and get maximum diversification. I'm trying to concentrate my money on the positions that I am most confident in. And so I'm going to try and keep 4 positions for most of the challenge here, and it's basically going to be evaluating what I see in the marketplace that has matching or corresponding ETFs, and then which position do I feel most confident in their direction, because in most of the situations I will be able to buy a bullish or a bearish ETF, or an inverse ETF is what it's called. And so we've got lots of options here, but that's how I'm thinking about it. And then since the competition is only 6 weeks long, this is where I'm going to apply most of my swing trading mentality and tactics. I'm not looking for fundamental analysis where this company is going to do great over 3 years, because we only have 6 weeks. And I'm not going to be day trading because these are ETFs, and I want to focus on the longer kind of 2 to 3 week time frames at a minimum is what I'm going to be looking for, because I don't want to be sitting at my computer for 4 hours a day day trading ETFs for this competition. So that is how I'm thinking about things. And then because of all of that, we do have a couple of ETFs that are available from Gloabl X, which is really nice, and they offer leverage, which means if the ETF goes up by 1% that day, the leveraged ETF will go up by 2%. They do that, these leveraged ETFs do that because they use derivatives such as options, futures, or swaps to amplify both the gains and the losses. And so if the underlying ETF would go up by 2%, the leveraged ETF goes up by 4%, but if it went down by 2%, the leveraged ETF would go down by 4%. And so it basically just amplifies the gains or the losses. Now, these are primarily used for short-term trading and investing. They're not used for long-term buy and hold strategies because the options, futures, and the swaps do cost money to give you that amplification. They also have a generally higher expense ratio, and so they're primarily designed for short-term trading, which is exactly what we're going to be doing. So they're a perfect scenario for us, and Gloabl X again has the best selection of them in Canada. They offer up to 2 times leverage, and they offer them based on the commodity, so the underlying commodity like gold or silver or Bitcoin. You can also choose it on a sector like technology or healthcare. You can also do it on volatility, such as the VIX. You can also look at the currency, or you can look at an underlying index like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100. All of these are going to be available in the competition, and here's a quick list just to show you what it looks like. So I will link this website in the description down here as well. Again, it's just the Gloabl X website though, and this is a list of all of the different leveraged ETFs that they have. You'll notice that they all start with Beta Pro. So if it says Beta Pro in the ETF name, that means that it is going to be leveraged. And as you can see here, they've got an inverse Bitcoin ETF. They've got a 2x daily bear on silver. They've got equal weighted Canadian banks, 2x daily bull ETF. And so what that means is if the equal weighted Canadian bank ETF went up by 1%, this would go up by 2%. And so you can do your own research on here, and you're going to need to try and identify which one is best going to fit your own analysis. But they have lots of different options here, and these are just the leveraged options. They also have plenty more ETFs that are not the Beta Pro variety, and so you are going to need to do some research here and kind of check out and figure out which ones are going to best apply to your trading strategy. Now, when it comes to my personal strategy, what I plan to do here is take my first position is going to be on Bitcoin. And so the reason I like Bitcoin right now is because, as you can see, we've got some clear support here. You could almost call this a triple bottom right around 54,000 here. You can see we tested it in July, we tested it again at the beginning of August, and we've tested it again at the beginning of September. What I'm looking for now is for the price to cross back above our moving averages and hopefully set a new high. That would be a confirmation of a bullish trend, at which point I would go long on Bitcoin. However, the competition doesn't start for a few days, so we still have to be a little bit patient. And if the price of Bitcoin drops below $54,000, that would be a sign of a continuation of the bearish trend, which means I would want to go short or bearish on Bitcoin. And luckily, again, I can use the Gloabl X ETFs to do that either way. And so my plan is to take a position on Bitcoin depending on what happens to the price. If it breaks down below 54, I'm going short on it. If it breaks above our moving averages and starts to set new highs, I would be going long on Bitcoin. That will be position number 1 for about 25% of the portfolio. The next position here is going to be gold. This chart is a little bit different, but sort of the same strategy here. When I look at the price of gold, we are in a very long-term bullish trend. It is a strong bullish trend. We continue to set new all-time highs in gold, and things look very good. However, over the last 20 to 25 days, we have been consolidating. You can see we've basically peaked out here around 2,520, and we found some support around 2,490. And so what I am watching for here is for the price to break above previous highs or below previous support, and that again is going to indicate whether I go long or I go short on it through the bullish or bearish ETFs. Now, my plan here is to be a little bit patient because on day 1, this price might still be a little bit choppy. So on a position like this, I might not be jumping into it on day 1 of the competition, but it is something where I'm going to be analyzing it almost every day of the competition. I'm going to be trying to analyze my top 4 positions and then possibly the 1 or 2 positions that I might want to swap them out with. That's going to be how I think about the portfolio throughout the competition. Now, for position 3 here, this chart is actually really interesting here. This is the price of West Texas light crude, and I personally think oil prices are falling right now, and I think they're going to continue to fall. If you look at what is happening right now and what the presidential candidates are saying about oil, Donald Trump plans to pump the crap out of the United States and become oil and resource dominant. And if we see an increase in supply of oil hit the market, that means that the price is probably going to fall because the demand is not skyrocketing by any means right now, but there is some room to increase that supply. And so I do think that over the next 1 to 2 years, we could see an oversupply. And I also think that we might be at the very beginning of it right now, because if it starts to become clear that Donald Trump might win this election, or if Kamala Harris becomes a little bit more friendly in order to try and win the election, I think we are going to see a very, very interesting and dynamic oil market. And I don't think the forces are there to drive prices higher unless we see more issues around the world in terms of conflict. And so my plan right now is, if we fall below support here, which we're basically sitting on right now, if we fall below that, I plan to buy an inverse oil ETF. If we find that something massive happens around the world, or something happens in the tone of the US election and we see a bounce off of support and we start to break through new highs and our moving averages, that is a possibility where I might change my mind and go to the bullish direction. So again, this is kind of tough to say because the competition hasn't started yet, and so we kind of have to plan out where we want to be a week or two from now. But it is very exciting. We're at the turning point for oil right now, so I do expect to have a position in this on day one of the competition. Now, the last one here is volatility, and what I mean by volatility is what is happening in the market. Are we seeing pretty drastic moves, or is it kind of slow and steady in one direction or flat? And over the next 4 to 6, maybe even 8 weeks here, I expect to see some volatility. You can see what happened here when technology had a bit of a pullback here. You can see that the VIX absolutely skyrocketed, or not the VIX, sorry. The ETF, the Beta Pro ETF that measures volatility, it absolutely skyrocketed here. And so there is some huge volatility in this ETF here. And you can see that it spiked when NASDAQ and technology all pulled back here. I think we are going to see some similar volatility coming up. Number one, we have a huge US interest rate decision coming out in September. We have the US election currently happening right now. We have a little bit of a market pullback also happening. We have what some people say is a massive AI bubble that could be on the verge of popping. We do have a little bit of international conflict that could escalate, and we have some pretty wild commodity prices right now, with gold at all-time highs and oil falling pretty dramatically. And so I do expect to see some volatility in the markets over the next few months, and the volatility ETFs provided by Gloabl X offer me some direct exposure to that, which I'm going to try and use to my advantage. Now, that is my strategy. You can copy me if you want to. I have no problem with it. If you win though, you got to give me a shout out in some way. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that this helped you sort of think about your own strategy. Now, if you do want to sign up for it, here is a link. I will also put this in the description to my videos. All you have to do is go to that link, create an account, and then they will give you $100,000 worth of fantasy funds that you can use to start trading when the competition starts. Now, in summary here, my plan for this competition is to continue to scan the market and try and identify trends or patterns that I think can give me great trading opportunities and that have a corresponding ETF so that I can take advantage of those trends in this competition. If you have any questions about any of that, leave it down below in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. And all of the links that you need to sign up will be in the description down below. We'll see you in the next video. Good luck trading, good luck investing, and we'll talk to you soon.